Hey everyone, welcome back. If you're new here, on this channel I'm sharing all the ups and downs of our move from the United States to Santo Domingo. Today, I want to talk to you about some of the mistakes we made before moving and after we got here, and how you can avoid them to save time, energy, and money. After that, I'll share some of the smart decisions we made that helped us adjust better. So let's dive in. Our first mistake was assuming we'd only stay in the Dominican Republic for 1 year. That first year was tough, learning how to cook, clean, do chores, navigate traffic. It just felt like a never ending struggle. And it wasn't until we eventually hired a nanny a few months down the road, or a nana as they call them, that we started to feel more settled. By the end of that first year, though, we were just starting to make friends and just starting to get into the rhythm of life down there. So we decided to stay a second year. So, my advice, if you're thinking you'll only be here for 1 year, plan for the possibility of staying longer. You might just fall in love with the lifestyle. Mistake number 2 was leaving our house empty. We left our house in Florida completely intact, thinking we'd only be gone for a year. It felt like too much work to sell it or rent it out, so we figured we'd just suck up the cost of an empty house for a year. But when we decided to stay longer, it became clear that this was not financially viable. Eventually, we ended up putting all our belongings into a storage unit, which cost us about $450 a month. So my advice, even if you're planning to move for this 1 year, consider selling or renting out your home. It'll save you a lot of money. Also, if you do have small kids, sell all the items for small kids that you can, such as furniture, beds, toys, etc. Because if, when you return, they'll have outgrown almost everything, and you'll have to get rid of it anyway. So mistake number 3, not selling our car. I left it in storage, thinking we'd need it on occasional trips back to the US. But between storage fees, loan payments, insurance, it became a huge financial drain. On top of that, we didn't even buy a car in the Dominican Republic, so we relied heavily on Ubers. Ubers are cheap down there, about $4 to $6 per ride, but they quickly add up if you're taking them everywhere. We were spending between $250 to $400 a month on Ubers, and dealing with groceries and everyday errands without a car became a hassle. In hindsight, we would have sold the car back in the US and gotten one here sooner. Mistake number 4, not finding an apartment beforehand. We didn't lock down an apartment before moving, thinking we'd find one quickly once we arrived. This is a big mistake, because we spent the first month living in a hotel, which ended up costing us about $4,000 altogether. Plus, when we were looking for apartments, real estate agents kind of gave us a vibe like they were looking at us like cash cows, assuming we'd pay inflated prices just because we were, quote, gringos. Eventually, we got lucky and through a friend found a 3-bedroom apartment for $1,700 a month in Pantini, which is a very good find. But the stress of finding a place could have been avoided if we have done more research beforehand. And my advice would be to take a trip to the Dominican Republic months before, try staying at Airbnbs, and see which neighborhoods you like best. Mistake number 5, not picking a school in advance. We did take trips before moving to do school tours, but we hadn't actually enrolled our kids in any until after we moved. This was kind of a mistake as private schools fill up quickly here. Luckily, being a foreigner worked in our favor and the schools made space for our kids, but that might not always be the case, as many schools do have waiting lists for different classes. The other issue, we picked an American school, thinking it would help our kids learn Spanish and kind of teach them in English as well, so they're not too overwhelmed. But turns out these schools are designed for Dominican kids to learn English. So our kids didn't really get the language immersion that we hoped for. We also even met American expats that had lived in the country for 4 or 5 years and their kids still couldn't speak Spanish. So just be sure to pick a school that aligns with your language goals for your kids. Mistake number 6, overpacking. We thought we would need to bring a ton of basics with us. Soap, sunblock, you name it. But most of these things are available in DR. We definitely overpacked, and I'd suggest only bringing the essentials when you move. Also, a side tip, wrap your important items in plastic bags or something waterproof, because the day we moved to the Dominican Republic, there was a massive storm right before the plane took off for Miami. And the crew that was loading the luggage onto the plane just left our stuff right out in the rain. When we arrived to the Dominican Republic, many of our belongings in the luggage were soaked. Mistake number 7, not getting a fully furnished apartment. We decided against getting a fully furnished apartment, thinking we'd eventually ship all our belongings down to the Dominican Republic. But when we realized that the cost of shipping was outrageous, we ended up just buying new furniture locally, only to end up moving to a furnished apartment the next year. At that point, we were stuck with all this furniture and appliances that we had bought, and we had to rent a storage until we can sell it all. My tip, if you're moving temporarily, a furnished place will save you a lot of hassle. Mistake number 8. We were buying too many American products when we first got there. And for the first few months, we were spending between $1,000 to $1,500 a month on groceries because we were buying American products. All these items are imported and are super expensive, more so than in the US. So once we switched to the Dominican brands, we saw a huge reduction in our grocery bill. Mistake number 9, overcomplicating our water situation. As you will become aware, you're not able to drink the tap water down there. And at first, we were buying giant 24 packs of bottled water every few days. Then a local told us that you could just order big jugs from a nearby kiosk for about $3 each. You just send them a WhatsApp message to the local, quote, colmado, as they're called, and a few minutes later, a delivery person will bring the jug to you. That saves us a lot of time and hassle. And don't forget to buy a water pump from a local supermarket or hardware store. Mistake number 10, dressing too casual. When we first arrived, it was blazing hot in the summer, so I'd walk around everywhere in shorts and flip-flops. I didn't realize that people in the Dominican Republic, especially in the city, dressed more professionally. The first day I walked the kids to school, all the other parents were dressed up, and I felt pretty out of place. Eventually, as I acclimated to the intense heat, I started dressing like the locals, wearing button-downs, slacks, and at that point, people began opening up to me. So now let's talk about some of the things we did right. So positive decision number 1 was living close to the school. One of the best decisions we made was being able to be walking distance to the school. Traffic in Santo Domingo can be intense, so being able to walk the kids to school was a lifesaver on many occasions. Positive decision number 2, living close to shopping. We chose to live in a place that was close to malls and other shopping areas, such as supermarkets, restaurants, etc. It made life a lot easier when it came to grocery runs, grabbing dinner, and getting the kids what they needed. Positive decision number 3, choosing a safe neighborhood. We moved to Piantini, which is a safe and upscale neighborhood, and it was a great choice to live there. We never experienced any crime firsthand, but we still took precautions like not flashing valuables and always staying aware of our surroundings. Positive decision number 4, hiring a nanny. Hiring a nanny, or nana as they call them, was a huge help. Nannies here handle cooking, cleaning, and even help out picking up the kids from school. It really lightened our load and made adjusting so much easier. And positive decision number 5. When we first got there, we immediately began making friends with our neighbors. This was crucial. They gave us tips on the best local services, such as doctors, dentists, the best schools, best restaurants, and it really helped us to feel more integrated into the community. So those are some of the mistakes we made and some of the things we did right during our move to the Dominican Republic. In future videos, I'll try to delve deeper into some of the things I went over. Hopefully, you can learn from our experience and make your move smoother. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave any questions or comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.